is going on?
What's up,
my
dude?
brother? We are
up, my
sitting
guy?
here.
What's
we
up,
can,
bro?
We can go into it and
Yeah.
say that this is attempt number 3 at
Wow.
this podcast.
Who would have thought? Attempt number 3
Attempt
at the
number 3.
podcast.
That's what happens when you DIY it. You do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
And we tried using a recording software online.
we don't have to name the name. We
Yeah.
don't,
I'm gonna
Okay.
name the
He'll
name.
name it. That's fine.
And,
Yeah.
but here we are, attempt number 3. My brother, happy Sunday. It is 85 degrees out in Chicago
Yes.
right
Yes.
now. Feeling
Wow.
super good.
Yeah.
And here we are in episode 1 of the Boys for Life podcast.
We're here.
We have been talking about this now for about 2 years.
2 years, my guy.
Since I moved back, June of 21. So coming up on 2 years. Wow. Me and you have just been talking about starting a podcast, and here we are.
We're here.
We are
Finally,
here.
attempt 3, like you said, attempt 3.
Attempt
and
number 3.
It's it feels good to be here. I think the new software we got is going to be more fluid for us. And
Shout out Apple and GarageBand.
Shout out Apple and GarageBand. Amen. You know, it's
100%.
Very fluid, simple. Just excited, you know, and I think what you talked about with wanting to get started with the podcast, and when you do it yourself, right? There's going to be ups and downs, trials and tribulations. It's a journey, right?
It is a journey, brother.
It's a journey, man. You know, and I think when we were talking about it, I mean, we wanted to do something like this, and we were trying to figure out, like, what's our message? Like, what do we want to share with people,
100%.
right? I mean, and we can go so many different ways, and, you know, and we'll dive into it in later episodes. But I think the biggest one, man, is that you and I we've been boys for 16 years, man.
Long time, bro.
Long time. And I think one thing that really brought us together, that brings a lot of people together, is the gym.
Is the gym.
The gym. You know what I mean? And I know that you've been on a health and wellness journey. I've been on a health and wellness journey. It's bigger than just going to the gym.
Oh, 100%.
It's bigger, man, you know? So I'm curious, man, when did you really start to take fitness seriously for you?
Yeah, okay. It's kind of there's kind of 2 answers to this, because I know that you can definitely relate to this. You know, we've been athletes our entire life. So we've always been kind of a part of the workout, training, active lifestyle, obviously playing multiple sports, you know, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling. I kind of feel like for most people, when you're growing up, you kind of try a little bit of everything. If you're into sports, you know, you do it all when you're growing up. But I think what really kind of launched it to me was after high school. I'd say about 2015 is when I really started to take like my own personal working out, challenging myself in the gym, taking it seriously, eating right, and training regularly. I would say about 2015.
Yeah.
Maybe summer of that year. So I think we're coming up on about 8 years.
Wow.
I'm in on this journey.
Wow.
And I kind of feel like it is with anything.
Yeah.
A marathon.
Yep.
And I think that a lot of people getting into it don't necessarily realize how much it actually takes and how much it really it requires an extreme amount of dedication, motivation, and just consistency and discipline. It's not a sprint.
Yeah.
You know, if we're going to kind of compare this to like a track event, it's not the 100 meter.
Right.
This is the 16, or it's a half marathon, or it's a marathon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say about 8 years I've been going.
Yeah.
I know that you've been right up there with me, bro. How about you?
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know, similarly to you, right? Played sports, played college football at Wisconsin Whitewater. Shout out Warhawks, Warhawk Nation.
Natty champs,
right? 2013, 2014.
Back to back on a flex on them.
Back to back. No, but I think once I stopped playing, I really think there's a switch that flipped, right?
Yeah.
You're so, and it's challenging though, bro, because you have to be disciplined, because you think about all these athletes, right? And you can attest to it. You come in, the workout's already on the board.
Yeah.
The trainers are already there getting you right. When you stop playing, you don't have access to that anymore.
You don't have that anymore.
You don't. And it requires a lot more discipline on you, waking up early in the morning, going to the gym. You could skip a day here and there if you want. Like, you really got to make sure you're locked in and in tune with yourself and really push yourself. And I would say for me, honestly, what started it, bro, and I think it was about 3 years ago. Almost 2-3 years ago, I really focused on it more. You know, we've been talking about, well, rather you've been talking to me about, hey, let's do like some health challenge, right? Let's do something, right? Let's do something together. And you reached out to me like, bro, like, let's do this 90-day challenge, right? Like, shout out to you. I mean, you got the whole documents ready, the prep, the workouts, what foods, supplements, everything we needed to take.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time, I was just like, there's no good time to do anything. I just had to say,
there's never a perfect time.
There's never a perfect time.
You just got to commit.
You got to commit. And we committed. Right? I think we had about 12 of us. I think that were doing it at the time.
I think it was 15 or 16 people we had.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Doing the summer challenge.
Summer challenge.
The
physique
baby,
summer
90 days.
challenge. And I remember, bro, like I was ready. We did 90 days, no alcohol. We worked out 5 days a week, lifted 3, cardio 2,
Eat clean.
Lost 22 pounds. Leaned
You
out,
won the
lost
challenge, bro.
22 pounds. Yeah, 22 pounds, bro. Yeah.
Absolutely killed it that year, man. I was super proud of you.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that, man. I really do. It was hard though. It was hard. It was a challenge, but the community aspect was great. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I'm glad that we had each other to really support one another. But that really jump started my journey. You know, and within the last couple weeks, my girlfriend Christina, shout out Christina,
Shout out Tina.
TT baby. And we just completed 75 hard. I mean, we
Yes.
did 75 hard. And for you guys that don't know what 75 hard is, it's 75 days, 2 workouts a day, 45 minutes. One has to be outside, gallon of water a day, 10 pages of a professional development book, no cheat meals, and no alcohol. And we
you did it.
We did it. We did it,
And
man.
the transformation was nice, dude. I saw those photos that you posted, the before and the afters. You killed it.
Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it was a collective effort, right? Because there's
Yeah.
days you don't want to do it. You know, it's just anything we do in life.
100%,
You know
bro,
what I mean?
with anything.
It's hard, but it's still a journey that we're on. We're still on that journey, and I think a big part of that journey, and you touched on this with your answer, is the dieting component.
Yeah.
Right. I'm curious to know more about what's your diet like. Why is diet the most important thing? Because there's a lot of people that think, oh, I got to go to the gym. I can eat whatever I
They'll
want.
think that you can out-train a bad diet.
Out-train a bad diet. So I'm curious your thoughts on that.
I mean, I didn't even realize when I first started working out how important the dieting aspect was. I mean, obviously I was at the time, 18, 19 years old.
Right.
I'm eating a pizza every single day, McDonald's, this and that. But
Ronnie's.
you can kind of get away with it a little bit when you're younger, your metabolism is fast and everything like that. But as far as like really getting into, you know, building your body and fueling it and giving it exactly what it needs. I mean, the nutrition is, I would say, probably the most important thing. I mean, you can't really out-train a bad diet. So I would say probably about a year or two into my journey is when I started doing a little bit more research and like started eating clean, and started taking, you know, what I was consuming in my body, and, you know, as importantly as my training regimen was. And that's when I really started, you know, gaining a lot more muscle, leaning out. I had a lot more energy. I felt I was getting stronger. I was also doing a lot of running at that time too. So I was able to, you know, run more consecutive days in a row, run farther, run faster. And you kind of have to look at it as like your body's like a car. You know what I'm saying? And you have to, if you only get one car, you have to really take care of it. You have to, you know, keep up with the maintenance, keep up with the oil changes, all that kind of, you know, the inspections and this and that. And you have to really be mindful of what you're putting into it and, you know, how you're utilizing it. So when you kind of come at it with that approach, you know, the opportunities are endless, if that makes sense.
100%. And shout out you, man. I mean, you want to talk about transformations, bro. Like, you're on almost a 10-year journey, man. 10-year journey.
It's been a very long journey.
And I remember going back to high school, man. I mean, I'll say it. I mean, you were skinny.
Yeah, I was a small fry.
Yeah,
for sure.
Small fry, and now you're a big fry. You're a large fry. Maybe XL. Maybe XL.
Maybe that supersized me back in the day at McDonald's. But
you know?
it was definitely a crazy journey. Yeah. I graduated, you know, Wheaton North. Shout out to Falcons.
Falcons, baby.
I graduated Wheaton North at about 140. And I jumped on the scale when I got out of the shower today before I came over here, and I was 203. So over the last 8 years, I've been able to put on, you know, 60, 65, 63 pounds of muscle. But being able to stay relatively lean and in good athletic shape. I mean, you kind of know this. We've had discussions. I don't necessarily like to go in the gym and like focus or like call myself a bodybuilder. I've been an athlete my entire life.
Always
I've played,
have been.
you know, so many sports, and I kind of like to look at myself as like an athlete. I like to run. I like to do kind of like CrossFit style HIIT workouts. I like to lift heavy and get crazy pumps, but I don't think that necessarily is like the word bodybuilder would necessarily define me. You know, I'm an athlete.
100%.
So I kind of like to take that unique training style approach and kind of like mix things up, you know, do a lot of muscle ups and body weight calisthenics and heavy, you know, compound movements, bench, squat, deadlift. But I also like to do, you know, HIIT style workouts on Concept 2 rower, the ski urge, full body thrusters. Like, you know me.
100%.
I'll go out and run 2-3 miles and I'll try to do all that kind of stuff, go for bike rides. So just kind of like encompassing everything that you can all into one, just kind of like megamorph. If that makes sense.
I love it. It does make sense. And I love that, man. And I think
I just like to be active.
Yeah, you do. And I think that's why we attracted to one another. I think we were like very like-minded in that manner. You know what I mean?
100%.
And it is good. You mean going to the gym is great. I think it's very healthy. But what else outside of that, right? Like basketball, riding bikes, going for runs. I mean, even if you play in like a rec softball or volleyball league, just doing something that's active, right? You want to focus. Like I think our focus is just staying active, any way, shape, or form. I mean, there's no one way of doing it.
Doesn't matter what it is.
Doesn't matter. I mean, you can jump rope. You can do jump rope, push-ups, do calisthenics. I mean, that's something I know you're big on too. So, I mean, there's so many different avenues that we can touch on that are so valuable for us. You know what I mean? And it's definitely important, man. And I think our main message here, and I'm curious your thoughts on this, man, is, going to the gym is great and all, right?
Yeah.
Going to the gym, looking big, whatever your goals are, feeling great.
Look good naked. That's my
Look
number
good
one
naked,
goal.
right? Honestly, no, for real.
No, that's what I told somebody at the gym the other
100%.
day. He said, "What's your why?" I said, "I just want to look good naked, man."
Dead ass. I already know. I mean, you have to look good naked.
Yeah.
You
I was kind of joking, but I was also kind of serious,
I know. Oh, I know. But I'm curious though, right? Like what has the gym allowed you from a physical and mental standpoint?
I was honestly going to try to bring this back.
Yeah. I love it.
I would say that the biggest thing for the gym for me, man, is I was a very like emotional kid growing up. I just had a lot of baggage, as I feel like a lot of kids and a lot of people out there do nowadays. And I think the gym really allowed me that one escape to just kind of get away from reality for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it may be. Silence the world on the outside.
Right.
Deal with whatever I got going on in my head and like use the gym as that outlet and that resource to channel everything that I'm battling into something positive.
Yes.
And I feel like me and myself included, I used some other substances to kind of numb myself and to get away from reality. But then when I found the gym, man, it did wonders for me.
Yeah.
And being able to take all of that negative feeling and emotion that you're battling and channel it into something that's going to, in the long run, be positive.
Totally.
It's changed my life for the better, honestly. And I think that a lot of people will ask, what is your why? And, we all have multiple reasons, but I think one of my biggest ones is maintaining that sanity, using it as an outlet to just release everything that we have pent up, whatever it may be. Everybody going through every single day life. You're struggling with relationships, friendships, work is stressing you out, financially stressing you out. Get in the gym, get on the treadmill, whatever you got to do, and just silence the world for a little bit and just make yourself better. Push yourself. Totally. I would say that that's the biggest thing that it's allowed me to do is handle my emotions and channel it into something positive, if that makes sense.
100%. 100%. And I agree with you on that. I think that you have to find a healthy way of doing it, right? Like you touched on that. You maybe didn't have a healthy way of going about
smoking,
how to channel
drugs, drinking, whatever it may be.
Yeah. I mean, and shout out to you. 3 years sober, right? I mean, that's a huge accomplishment.
3 years no drinking. I've smoked a little bit of weed, but for the most part, it's been
sober, right? I mean,
sober
but
off
still,
the bottle, but yeah.
I mean, I think that's definitely worth noting. I mean, because there's a lot of people that use alcohol to cope. You know what I mean? And it's sure, in the moment it feels great, but if you look long term, which some people don't. I mean,
you're not handling anything. You're just numbing it.
You're not, exactly.
Until the next morning, and then you're hungover.
It's a Band-Aid.
You feel shitty.
It's a Band-Aid.
Exactly.
It's a Band-Aid. You know what I mean?
A very temporary Band-Aid.
I mean, it's the same thing I think with diet too, like certain diets. I mean, we can go so many different ways, but you could diet for 30 days. Yeah. Go back to your old ways. Then what? You know
what? Exactly.
It got to be a lifestyle. So it's got to be more of like a conscious effort of what we're doing and what you want to do. Just a conscious effort going to the gym.
100%.
But we also know we don't want to go every single day.
No, definitely not.
We don't. We
definitely don't.
We're humans. We have shit that we're going on in our lives. Some days we want to just chill, right?
I didn't want to work out yesterday.
No, I don't want to work out yesterday either. But we did. We woke up. Or Friday. But you wake up and get it done.
You wake up and you get it done.
And a half-assed workout's better than not going. I'll say it. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people would disagree, but I agree with you.
And that's fine. And this is my reasoning because it teaches a discipline, small disciplines, and when you stack up days after one another, it equates to a huge momentum shift.
100%.
You know what I mean? So that's fine. We're not here to get on anyone's good or bad side. That's just our perspective on it, right?
Yeah.
So, which I think is key.
Yeah.
I think is really key.
I would kind of like to piggyback off of that. And I think another reason why I love so much going to the gym and getting into there is because of the community aspect.
Amen.
I'm really big on that. And,
I know.
you know, some of my other friends, Austin, if you're listening, or Wilson, they know I'm really big on community points. And a big thing for me going to a new gym is what's the vibe like? What are the people like?
Yes.
Is there a sense of community? Are people, you know, friendly and kind of like open armed to like new people coming in? Because you go to some gyms and you got, you know, kind of the bodybuilders, the headphones on, which is all great and all, but
100%.
I like, you know, making friends there and creating a sense of like everybody's getting better. We're all here, you know, the same common goal, and just everybody's kind of uplifting each other, which I know sounds cheesy, but if you go to a gym and that has that, you understand what I'm talking about, where safe environment, nobody cares what weight you're using. We're all there getting better. Just the positive energy, like you're using it as fuel. And that's been a big thing for me, is like I love going to the gym. And I think the hardest part is showing up.
Yes, it is.
You know, going into your room, getting on your gym clothes, getting in the car and driving there. Once you get there, it's over. Like, we're here. I'm going to put the work in regardless.
Right.
But I think having that sense of community wherever you go, whatever it might be, maybe a hiking group, a biking group, running group, whatever, gym, having that sense of community is also huge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, that's one thing I look at too, right?
Yeah.
You have to have a community. Everyone has to belong. You want to feel a sense of belonging at the gym, right? Like, some people like to go and just put their headphones in and work, and that's great.
Which is cool. Sometimes I'm in that mood where I just want to just lock in, head down, don't talk to me. I'm grinding. I'm struggling with some shit right now.
Yeah.
But for the most part.
Absolutely. But that is important. I mean, at least to me, I know it is to you. Because and you can go to any, you know, commercial gym or any whatever type of gym it is. You know what I mean? And if you don't have that sense of belonging that we're looking for, it's hard. It's hard to show up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it is important that you figure out what you want in a gym community aspect. Do you want a community? Do you want to just go to a gym that just has weights that you can lift?
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about your preference. I mean, there's no right or wrong of going about it.
Everybody's different.
Everyone's
as long as
different.
you're getting there.
As long as you're getting there, right? You got to respect the hustle.
Yeah.
But I have a question for you now, right?
Yeah.
So you've been in the gym for, I mean, your journey for almost 10 plus years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've been in for a long time. You know, what advice would you give to someone who's just starting out? The reason I'm asking this question, just to give you some perspective, is there's a lot of people that are timid because they see these people who are really big and they're maybe bodybuilders or whatever their goal is. They're scared.
Yeah.
Right. So what would you say to that person that's maybe experiencing that type of feeling?
Somebody that's kind of like new to the gym and brand new, starting their journey.
Yeah.
I would definitely say, the first thing I would say is it's okay and be patient, because this is going to be a marathon.
Right.
And I feel like one of the reasons why a lot of people give up is they'll go do a boxing class, or they'll do some kind of workout classes, or they'll start lifting and they'll do it for 2, 3, 4 months, whatever it may be.
Right.
And then they look in the mirror and they don't necessarily see a change. And then they say, well, fuck this, then I'm wasting my time.
Yeah. Right.
But I mean, me personally, when I started working out, I feel like looking in the mirror, I didn't really start seeing a change until after about 2 years. So I feel like the biggest message to hit home to somebody who might be just starting right now is to be patient.
Be patient. Yeah.
And I know that's going to be tough. And I know it's going to suck for a while, but trust me, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Second thing I would say is definitely stick to the basics. The internet can teach you a lot of things. The internet can show you a lot of things, but stick to the basics. Depending on what kind of background you come from, whether you're an athlete or something, maybe you've kind of learned how to lift a little bit or not. But also, don't be afraid to ask questions. Most gyms, they have trainers there.
Right.
You know, they have people there who have been working out. Go up to somebody and ask them, you know, hey, how do I do this machine? Or, hey, what should I be doing for a back workout? You know, and stick to the basics. Don't try to do too much. Start simple. Go a couple days a week, kind of work your way up and kind of ease yourself into it. Don't try to do too much at the beginning.
Right.
If you're just starting to work out, you don't need to be going 6 days a week, training for 3 hours a day. You know, go 3-4 times a week, train for an hour, get on the treadmill, ease your body into it, do your own research.
Right.
YouTube can teach you everything.
Totally.
Ask trainers. Like the opportunities are endless as far as teaching yourself. I mean, I taught myself a lot of things when I first started going to the gym on my own. Instagram, YouTube, things like that. I ended up getting a NASM certification when I trained people for a couple years at H4. But just be like a sponge, absorbing all kind of information, ask questions, and just keep showing up.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you think? What would you tell somebody if they came up to you? Hey, I just started at this gym this week. I've just started working out. What should I do?
Yeah. I mean, I think you touched on it a little bit. It's just being patient, right? I think my perspective on the gym is, once January 1st hits, right? Everyone goes to the gym. Everyone goes to the gym. Some people hate it because it's just there's more people there, right? I get it. I've been there. I'm like, there's more people here. But you have to have that perspective, like people are trying to better themselves, But I also think, too, is that some people rush it. They go too hard, too fast, or too sore. They burn out and they fade out too quickly.
100%.
And then it's like 3 weeks go by, and then they're back to where they were before January 1st. The same habit. So I think the biggest thing is just the patience piece. I mean, I think that's with anything. And Gary Vee talks about this a lot. I mean, shout out Gary Vee. I mean, he always talks about patience. I mean, we live in a society now where people want things like in the blink of an eye.
So fast.
I mean, even look at social media, like our attention spans. Like that's why TikTok and Shorts, YouTube Shorts, and all these other platforms are exploding because our attention spans are so short.
People can't focus for more than 5 seconds, 10 seconds on something.
You can't. I mean, and I'm guilty of it sometimes too. We all are, but you have to recognize that first and foremost. You know what I mean? So I think it really is just sticking to the basics and stick to a foundation, right? What is it that you want to do? Do you want to just get to the gym? Do you want to add muscle? Like, what's your long-term goal?
You want to lose weight? Exactly. Yeah. What could it be?
What could it be? So I think figure out your plan. And if you don't know a plan, that's where it comes in what you said. Be curious. Ask questions. I mean, there's trainers at the gym. Talk to the owner. Maybe get acclimated with who the owner is. What's their vision for the gym, right? Like just ask some questions so that you can figure out, do I resonate with this gym? Can I be with this gym? Do I not be? I mean, there's so many questions. But I think really just sticking with those principles can really help people who are maybe struggling to get to the gym. Because I know, like, when I first started out, like, it was really hard. Like, when I had a trainer when I was playing football to when I didn't have it, like, I had to figure out what the hell am I going to lift today? And that's where I think you and I kind of tag teamed it a little bit because you had a little bit more experience than I did being a trainer, et cetera, et cetera. You were acclimated with different types of people and they had different perspectives on fitness and the
different
gym.
Restrictions and different goals and objectives and things like that.
Well, another thing too is we all have different body types.
Everybody's body responds to something different.
And I think that's important to know too where, I have longer legs, smaller torso. I do. And it's just kind of how my body's shaped and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's just
how God made you.
It's how God made me, So I think it's just starting to play with your strengths.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean it's interesting. That's a very interesting question. I feel like there's so many more things.
There's so many things that you could say to somebody, but I think the biggest one that you kind of touched on is don't try to overwhelm yourself. Stick to the basics.
Yeah.
Just be consistent.
Right.
And just consistently be a sponge.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
And I think that in this day and age, also too, to kind of pivot off of that is also be excited.
Yeah.
You're going to learn a lot of things on your own personal journey. And I think that's another thing that's really kept me motivated and it's kept me going for all this time is because the gym kind of teaches you so much because all the lessons that you learn working out and the lessons that you learn about yourself and how far you can push yourself, you can translate into any aspect in life because in anything in life, you get what you put in. And I think that's the biggest thing that I learned from Coach Cherry and Steve Holland at Wheaton North Wrestling was you get what you put in.
Right.
You half-ass, you're going to get half-ass results. You put in that extra work, you're going to shine when it comes time to shine. And I think that working out and just fitness in general, how hard you push yourself. And I'm not saying you have to just like bury yourself in the ground.
Of course not.
But as David Goggins would say, somebody's got to carry the boats. And sometimes you have to kind of flip that switch in your mind that you're going to put everything you got into this journey.
Yeah.
And that's when you look in the mirror in 6 months, a year, 2 years, and you can feel proud.
You can.
And that was the biggest thing for me is, when I graduated high school, I was a twig. I hated how I looked in the mirror. I was dealing with a lot of stuff mentally. And I pushed myself unbelievably hard for a couple years. And I was able to actually look in the mirror and be like, damn, I'm proud of the work I'm putting in.
Right.
I'm going to keep doing it.
100%.
And then 6-7 years later, I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always kind of laugh with my buddies. I used to go with a pretty solid group of people at Export when I first started working out. I was rolling with Jablonski, Wilson, Dukes.
The boys.
Eli, the boys. And it was kind of funny because slowly but surely over time, one would fall off, another one would fall off, two would fall off. Dukes was the one that stayed around for the longest. Shout out K Dukes.
K Dukes, baby.
It got to a certain point, then I'm looking around in the gym and I'm by myself, and I'm the only one that's still out of the group that started. I'm the only one still going, and I never stopped.
Yeah. But I think in some sense too, right? You have to find ways to relight that wick, right? If we're looking at a metaphor with a candle, because it's going to be put out. It may be a windy day. It may blow out.
It might blow it out.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to find ways to keep pushing yourself and keep doing what you got to do. And when you're on your journey too, like we talked about this, like there's gonna be so many different things that come in your way, right? Whether it's you had a shitty day at work, right? Your girlfriend broke up with you, right? You and your boys got into a fight, like you don't like whatever it is, like you gotta be self-disciplined enough to overcome that adversity in the moment and keep pushing through.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I like 75 hard for that discipline aspect, because it teaches like. If I don't go for a walk for 45 minutes outside, I got to restart.
Yeah.
Sure, I could say fuck it and just click the check mark on my little checklist.
And just say that you were done.
And say I did it.
But you'll know in the back of your mind, like, nah, I cut that corner.
That's going to linger. And that's going to show up in the long run. Like, I cut the corner. Like
day 31, like, I skipped that walk. Or I didn't read those 10 pages.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
And it's going to come back.
It's going to eat you.
Dude. Times 10 in the 100%. Long run. You know what I mean? So that's, you got to just do it. Yeah. Nike, just do it, man. Just do it.
I think at the end of the day, the biggest message to anybody that's listening is, if you're going to start this fitness journey, be able to hold on for a long time. And you're going to have to look at it as it's not going to be just kind of like a summer get fit quick. No. You're going to have to make a change to your lifestyle if you're serious about it.
100%.
And commit to the change.
Yeah, commit.
Change is good. Put yourself outside of your comfort zone, commit to the change, and see how far you could take it.
Yeah, dude, totally, man. And because if you don't step out of your comfort zone, you get complacent, man.
100%.
And I've been in situations before, whether it's a relationship or even at the gym, just getting complacent. Right? Yeah. You hit a plateau, and then you're like, "Oh, this sucks. What am I doing?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is important to kind of keep moving the needle one little bit at a time.
One small little notch, one small little victory each day can help you win the war.
Dude, totally, man. And that's why I love, like, we've connected in so many levels of that with sports and friendships and just people in our circle that we met. And we continue to meet.
100%.
You know what I mean? I think that's really cool, man. But, I know we're kind of at the end here. And,
I could talk about this all day.
We could. That's the thing. Like, let's preface this. We could talk about this for hours,
all
man.
All day. I could.
There's so much that we could dive into. But
I promise you I could.
Oh, I promise you I could too. Anja.
Yeah.
But, there's not enough time in the day.
There's not enough time
in the day. But I do want to end on this note here is, like, where do you see the Boys for Life podcast going for our viewers and people who are listening? Where do you see this going?
I see this thing going to the moon, baby. And I see us impacting the people that are listening to this on a long scale, over a long set of period of time, who can actually relate to these conversations and might take some little nugget from this episode and a little nugget from there.
Yeah.
And I see us making a difference in the long run, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't see too many people out there putting their vulnerable, true selves out there. Amen. Coming on here and admitting, hey, I'm not okay right now. And we're talking about it. We deal with things, or we talk about, trauma or whatever from the past. And I just feel like as long as we stay true to the vision that me and you have, I think we could take this thing to the moon.
I agree.
And I'm not even necessarily talking from like a monetary standpoint. Like, I just really want to help whoever may be listening, whoever may be struggling with something, know that it's okay.
Yeah.
And maybe come to our voices and come to this podcast or come to this YouTube channel and watch us here for...
Yeah.
To maybe help them get over whatever it is that they're going through, whatever hump it may be.
Totally.
I just kind of want to be that rock for somebody, if that makes sense. What about you, brother?
100%. No, I agree. And I'm glad that we talked about in episode 1. We talked about the journey. This is our journey, man.
This is our journey,
This is it. Like, we're not perfect. We don't know what the hell we're doing with the podcast. This is our third time recording this.
You know what I mean? It shows already before episode 1.
Before episode 1.
We have no idea what the fuck we're doing.
But the thing about it is that you and I don't take things too seriously.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that is a message to people. Like, you want to work hard, but you also have to enjoy life.
And you got to have fun, bro.
You got to have fun with it.
That's a memory that we'll have forever together, bro. Hey, remember?
We'll be talking about this in a couple years, and who knows where we'll be at. Who knows how many episodes we will record.
But to kind of tie it back in, it's just like the fitness journey. Our journey with this podcast is you just got to go for it.
Have to.
Don't make any excuses. We just said one day, you know what, screw it. Let's buy the equipment. We bought the equipment. We spent, hundreds of dollars on some of this stuff. And it's just like, now we got to go for it.
We're here. Let's do
We're
it.
here.
Yeah.
We got the light. We got the microphones. We got the whole setup here on your couch. And we're just going for it.
Yeah.
And so, listen, we just kind of wanted to tie it all together. Thank you guys so much for listening to episode
Thank you.
1. Thank you for listening, watching, viewing, and subscribing. Catch us on YouTube, Boys for Life Podcast.
Yes, sir.
You've already found us if you're listening on Apple or Spotify. Thank you for tuning into episode 1. My brother, I love you. Catch us on the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Run it.
Beautiful. Let's go. That's how it's done, team.
Nice.